I wanted to do a little recap about what happens on this seminar for you to have the idea why we are doing what we are doing every month, right? And also today, because today is going to be an interesting day, we have Sun Chung. Thank you so much, Sun, for being here. She's going to speak about the skin and the gut and the relationship between and food as medicine. That's how I call this story, food as medicine. And then in order for you to understand why we are doing this today, I want to do this little recap. So in our first seminar, we explored this idea of the world within and the world without. You remember? We say, well, there is a world within and there is a world without. But then we made the differentiation. We say, well, without these days doesn't mean, or it's not an antonym of within. It's not having something or being without something. But in any case, we understand this idea, the idea of the outside and then the of the inside. That's why we meditate, right? When we meditate, as the journey of meditation, we walk inside and we close our eyes. That's when we close our eyes. When we close our eyes, we are able to understand what's going on inside. And then we realize that there is this big universe that we see, for example, at night when we see all these stars or when we see the skies and the clouds, and this universe that is surrounding us. And when we are able to go in, we realize that as big as is the universe outside, is the universe inside. So that's a recap, very short recap of what we saw in the first seminar. But that was the idea, the main idea. The second seminars, we talk about intention and desire. Why we talk about intention and desire? Because as soon as we go in, when we look inside, we realize that we have needs and we have desire. And then we realize how important desires are in our life. We recognize this important to the point that the Upanishads, this old sacred book written 2,600 years ago, but that was written 2,600 years ago, but it's much more older than that. But before all this knowledge was done by the word of mouth. But in any case, the Upanishads says that we are what our deep driving desire is. That's a very powerful statement. We are what our deep driving desire is. And they continue, as our desire is, so is our will, as our will is, so is our deed, and as our deed is our destiny. Desire, will, deed, destiny. So how important is this concept of the Upanishads? And then we explore this combo of intention and attention, because intention transforms and attention energizes. How important intention and attention are in order to pay attention to our desires. When you pay attention to your desires and you focus your intention, then you energize that desire and in order for it to manifest. That was the second seminar. But then we move into the third seminar, meditation seminar, and we talk about discipline, basically. And because we talk about discipline, we talk about procrastination, because it's sort of the poisoning of discipline, right? How we procrastinate in our life. And then we explore the Western research on procrastination with a beautiful definition, an unconscious attempt to feel better now. They talk about the freeze response. We talk about Walter Cannon, five-light response, and then the third response, which is something newer, like something that was discovered later than Walter Cannon. And they say that procrastination is this freeze response. Now, in the other side, I made the comparison between the Western research and what I usually bring into our seminars, which is the Eastern knowledge of Vedanta tradition, of the Vedanta philosophy. And we talk about tapas. That's how yoga sees it. When we talk about discipline in yoga, we talk about tapas. And tapas is this transformative force that destroys the old pattern in order to move forward. Transformation is all about fire, because transformation is the power of transformation is made of fire, right? Fire transforms things. It's different than change. We spoke about this. When you transform, there is no comeback. When you change, yes, I changed my hand here, so I can go back. If I transform, there is no change. Fire does that. So when we see procrastination as the freeze response and discipline as fire, this fire transform, destroy these old patterns in order to move forward. That's how yoga sees discipline. I talk about my father and how he embraced discipline in a completely different way. I used to talk a lot about my father and my relationship with him. I learned a lot in that relationship, analyzing all that story over the years. In our fourth seminar, we spoke about bringing back innocence. In order to keep digging into this inner exploration, we say, well, okay, I'm going through all this desire, intentions, attention, discipline, procrastination. So how I can embrace all of this? And then we talk about innocence, how we can bring innocence into our life. And I brought the story of the blank canvas. I don't know if you remember the blank canvas story, Deepak Chopra going in shorts and sandals in the first day of the event in Costa Rica. And then he was supposed to be talking of the day after. He was the keynote speaker, and then he showed up so randomly like that, wearing this black canvas shirt, which was a very strong message he was sending out. Basically, how important is to bring this back innocence in our life, embracing the blank canvas understanding, because when we are able to create this sort of blank canvas, or use this life of as a blank canvas, then innocence is the tool in order to create that. And then we spoke of the problem of identification. I assume that all of you, well, not all of you, because not all of you are Americans, but I assume that most of you identify as Americans. I identify as an Argentinian guy. That's identification, and that's how identification basically narrow our chances and put innocence by the side. That's why we lost innocence. So finally, then we say, well, we need to embrace innocence. And then finally, in the last seminar, we spoke about forgiveness, because forgiving ourselves is the only chance in order to be able to forgive others. If we are not able to forgive ourselves, it's impossible to forgive others. And we talk about tapas and rajas and sattvas, which are the three gunas, which in Western society we call emotions, to put it somehow. But in reality, it's much more deeper than that. And then we realize that vulnerability, detachment, and acceptance are the three key components in order to be able to forgive, right? Vulnerability, this idea of being able to show our goons. Remember, we say, well, vulnerability, vulner means goon. Vulnerability is this ability to show our goons. What we do with our goons is to cover them. We don't show them. If you're able to show your goons, then you are able to be vulnerable. No, take this first step and say, I love you first, in order, instead to be waiting for the other, to say, I love you, or to connect, or whatever vulnerability means. Detachment, we are attached to everything. I always made the joke. Since we were kids, we start our attachment to chocolate. Who is not attached to chocolate? We all are attached. Attachment is our journey in this planet, because this journey is a material journey. It sounds in my head, this Madonna song, I am a material girl. So this is detachment is a big deal in all of this, and acceptance. And the confusions we have when we talk about, acceptance, we sometimes believe that acceptance means to agree, and acceptance is not agreement at all. Acceptance is to accept that this happened, and this happened to me. If I don't accept that, I keep fighting it, and I waste all my energy. In any case, all these 5 seminars were pushing us to what I call the yogi journey, because today we start the yogi journey. And what is the yogi journey? Well, the yogi journey is this exploration in between, or between, not in between, from the dense part of our existence to the subtle part of our existence, from dense to subtle. So which is the most dense layer of our existence? That's a question. Think about it, which is the most dense layer of our existence? And I know that he speaks fast, and I know that my accent is pretty strong. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, please let me know. But just shoot it. What is the most dense layer of our existence? Our body, my dears. Our body, very dense, very solid, bones, tissues, muscles. And we are going to talk about this today. That's why we have, I call it food as medicine, because food is what made our body. Everything that you put in your mouth, starting with your mother feeding you, and then our journey into this planet, feeding ourselves, is the body that we have. So today we have Sun Chung. Thank you so much for being here. She is a gut health and clear skin specialist. She helps busy women heal skin and gut issues naturally based on Korean wellness principles. So thank you so much, my dear, for being here. And I would like to start this conversation sharing a little bit about your personal story with skin healing. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be here, and I've been joining your wonderful monthly meditation workshop, and I've been learning a lot, and it's really nice to be here and wonderful to see the participants as well. So I started my health and clear skin and gut healing journey with uh desperation because I was born with skin issues and I used steroids for 3 decades to relieve my symptoms. And after 30 years, it lost its effect. So um, that's when I started digging really deep. That's been about 12 years. So I've been having clear skin naturally by healing my gut. And I've been sharing my story on my YouTube channel, and I have about 8 million uh, views from all over the world. So it's been an honor and pleasure to share my stories, and hopefully you'll find some nuggets or some pieces of my story to be empowering to you. So the um, the science behind it. So how many of you are familiar with gut health? How many of you know the relation with connection between inflammation, gut health, and skin issues? Is that anybody familiar? Okay, I see Carol. Anybody else? If I missed someone? Okay. Um, so when when I started digging really deep, because I literally, when steroids stopped working, I felt like I was on fire. And when you're on fire, you know, Diego talks about fire a lot, but it wasn't good fire. It was just, I felt like I was on fire. I was inflamed. It showed on my skin rashes and itchiness, and I was in such bad mood. So I yelled at my husband for no reason for many times. And our marriage was definitely rocky then because, I just wasn't the woman that he married me. I don't know. It just, this inflammation was just burning me up. So the science behind it, when you heal your gut, that's when you start healing your skin, and all the recurring ailments is that's a pretty bold statement, but it's all based on scientific field called epigenetics. How many of you heard of epigenetics? Okay. Evasterot. Okay, I might be. I like, yeah, I have accent as well, so I might be saying your
You were
name correctly.
close. Close enough.
Awesome. Thank you. Who else has heard of epigenetics? I am scrolling here and see. Okay, so maybe Evas, it's only one. So wonderful. I'm glad you're aware of that. That's beautiful. So epi means above. So currently, most of us believe, based on old science, that your genes determine your health. So if you have skin issues, like I was born with skin problems, that means you're gonna have skin problems the rest of your life. And that's what I believed. That's why I used steroids for 3 decades against my dermatologist advice that like not use that, but that was the only thing that worked for me. So I used it for 3 decades. So if your family has history of cancer, you might have cancer. If your family has weak gut problems, digestive issues, acid reflux, you might end up with that because that's your genetic components. But what epigenetics is talk about is what you do can change the expression of your genes. So fun way to think about it is gene is more like your face. So you can make your gene express happy or frown. So you have that possibility, potential within you. You can turn off some bad genes or genes that might express disease, or turn on healthy genes. So you can suppress your genes that might express disease. So this is a very, very powerful thing. So why gut healing is so important, it is that about 80% of your immune system is located in your gut. So your immune systems are your best friends. So they're a protector. That's what we know. And they're also conforms to your belief. So protection, most people know that part, right? When you eat something or when pathogens come in, if it's not you, if it's bad for you, then it shoots out the inflammatory chemicals. And if you have when actually there's a danger, then if your immune system shuts out these inflammatory chemicals, that's great. That's how you're being protected. So in that case, inflammation is healthy for you. But if you have chronic inflammation, meaning that you put a lot of stuff in your gut, in yourself that your body hasn't seen before, right? Such as a lot of GMOs, genetically modified organisms, that if you eat a lot of those or a lot of processed food that's very new to your body, if you eat a lot of those, your body simply doesn't know how to process this. And your immune system is trying to protect you. Is CJ like, oh, danger. And it shoots out all these inflammatory chemicals that's that it can express as diabetes, like, or your acid reflux, indigestion, or your skin issues. That depends on your genetic weakness. But see, your your genes are important, but it's only propensity. It's not determined. That's how I was born with skin issues. Used steroids for 3 decades, but I've been off of steroids, no medication for about over 10 years now. So that's the power that everybody has within. So you have so much potential within you. So it's a very, very active, really exciting field of study, epigenetics. You can also Google this, right? So, okay, I got a question from Diego.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Just to clarify one thing, I would like to say that Ayurveda, which is one of the things that I teach or that I just embrace in these conversations, basically base all its knowledge in the understanding of the gods. So, and it's considered one of the oldest healing systems in the planet. And then basically what Ayurveda says is whatever happens in your body starts in your gut. And makes a lot of sense because when we see that our body is our what we put in, then of course then we are building our body through what's happening in our digestion. That's how important it is what Sun is saying right now. And also, apart from the epigenetics that she's mentioned, we need to talk about the microbiome too, right? Like the relationship in between all the bacteria that are part of our gut. We have more bacteria in our guts than cells in our body. So more than a human being, we are a bacteria colony walking as a human. Makes sense? That was my interruption. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that was beautiful. You're right on point on that. So your gut is its own universe. Diego talked about we're like a Russian dolls, that you look at universe, you see how it's run, and you have the same ecosystem in your body. So when they talk about gut microbiome. They literally talk about ecosystem. You're the CEO of everything. So there's a, your second brain, what they call gut, needs to be healed. And your first brain, that's what Diego has been working on a lot on this meditation workshops. You heal your first brain as well because there's a gut brain connection. There's a highway there. So that that is both very important. And I love about one of the things because I love food that I love about eating good food, and especially so there are three simple things you can do to improve your gut health. Therefore, you get clear skin, and your skin complexion will look better and it'll look healthier. Um, Number one, my favorite is fermented foods. As Diego talked about, there's a lot of, we talked about, most people probably know about probiotic. Pro means for life, and biotic means life, right? It's for life. So you're literally feeding this living, I call them tiny but mighty friends. You eat those and they go in there and they help you to heal. And it's a very recent, very new field of science, but there's so much information coming out. And one of the recent articles that I read in Nature, they're talking about without microbiome, humans even cannot get pregnant. And that's how closely connected and symbiotic relationship that we have with microbiome. So if you like fermented food, pickles, sauerkrauts are wonderful. And also, kimchi, if you haven't tried it, it's Korean fermented food, Korean staple. Like Koreans pretty much eat this every meal. And you don't have to eat it at every meal, but start slowly and introduce a little. And I had many students who had digestive issues and they start eating some kimchi and they're like, oh my God, going to the bathroom in the morning is so much smoother. Thank you so much. And they're really raving about it. So introduce a small amount and see how your body responds to it. So that'll be a really fun one. Your symbiotic relationship with this microbiome that you can replenish and nourish your gut that way. If your gut has been compromised a lot because American diet is called sad diet because we literally put a lot of things in our gut that's really bad for us. Um, so that's okay. I got a question here. Yeah, go ahead.
I know what sauerkraut is, but I actually have never had kimchi. What exactly is it a vegetable? What is kimchi?
That's a really good question. Thanks for that. So kimchi is a Korean fermented side dish made with various of vegetables with seasoning. So if you think about sauerkraut, so there are more than 180 kinds of kimchi. There are all kinds. But biggest difference is from any other fermented foods from other like such as sauerkraut is that it's it's salted and it's brined, but there's a secondary treatment of seasoning. So there's a very wide range of flavors, and I have a lot of garlic chives in my garden. They're just, if you're a gardener, for some reason, they're just so happy this year. So I made, my husband called it chive chi, and I made some kimchi with that, and it's delicious. And so it's a very, so yeah, so that's, does that answer your question? Okay.
Can you send us a recipe of how to do that?
Sure. You can, I absolutely,
Or send
I
me a
can send
link
you,
or whatever you have, so we can explore that.
wonderful. Okay. Do you want me to email it to you or
Yeah, yeah.
I can, okay. Okay.
Email that to me, and then I'll send it to the group.
Wonderful. Okay. I'll do that. I'll make a note. Kimchi recipe. Okay. So that's a really fun one you can try. And number two is hydration. So drinking water, it's so basic, but it's so easy to forget, especially in American culture, because we really confuse hydration with drinking Gatorade Red Bull, soda, or coffee, right? So hydration is drinking water, good water, right? And water, all your blood vessels, it's like you have a river. We talked about universe, right? We're going more your universe. You have a river in your body. And if you don't have enough hydration, nothing flows through. Every time your heart pumps, it pumps so much fluid. It carries the oxygen, it carries all the good minerals, proteins, all the nutrition that you need in your body. And it also carries the junk out of you too, right? So make sure you drink enough water. And I know hydration got very popular. So some people drink sometimes way too much. So listen to your body. This is where mindfulness comes. Diego teaches you so beautifully. If you're thirsty, have water. If you feel like, oh my God, I had so much water, then don't drink it. So really listen to your body rather than, oh my God, I need to drink 1.5 liters or like how many gallons, right? Really listen to your body. If you're thirsty, have a sip. Which I'm gonna have now.
This is very important what you are saying about water, because electrolysis, I don't know if I am saying this properly in English, electrolysis, right? Very important, because the relationship between salt and water in our body is very important in order to keep, for example, the circulatory system working perfectly. Our heart works by electrolysis. So when you drink more water than you should, which is something that we go from one side to the other side. So I don't drink any water, and then I start drinking water. No, I have to drink 3 liters of 4, 5, 6 liters of water every day. Then you miss up that relationship. And then the best thing in order to normalize that relationship is exactly what Sun just said, which is drink. Drink when you are thirsty. Drink when you are drinking and you feel, oh yeah, I need this. Makes sense? And it's easy for us to understand that. Makes sense? Now, if you are drinking and you see why I'm drinking this. And it is related to all what we drink, because we drink a lot of stuff. So as soon as we put liquid in our body, then we change that relationship between the salt in our body and the water. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's wonderful. That's a really good point. So number 3, you're transitioning very beautifully here. That's a really good point. It's related. Mindful eating. So mindful eating sounds like, oh my God, mindfulness again. But I know this group is more into mindfulness, but a lot of people is like, oh my God, some people are, what is mindful eating? It's simply you pay attention to what you're eating. Diego just talked about intention and attention, right? So attention is energizing. Attention is you allow yourself to be at the moment, and a lot of us eat it like a robot. Even if you eat the most healthiest food in the world, whatever that means for you at this time, could be avocado, could be, I don't know, yogurt, could be kimchi. Even if you eat the most healthiest thing, if you are eating with your phone or the news or TV, without you knowing it, when there's just some urgent thing coming up, or somebody got upset on the phone, you're looking at the Instagram feed, without you knowing it, your body goes to fight or flight mode. And no matter what you eat, it can cause a lot of problems in your gut. So one thing you can be really generous to yourself, which I do this every night with my husband, that I light some candlelight, and before we eat, we sit down for a few minutes, and we don't have religion, but we sit down and have a little blessing, just thanking for the food and whatever that you're thankful for. Like, thank you for this wonderful view that I have, or this, that was able to be here with you today, or just simply, having a good relationship with my husband for 20 years, which I didn't know that was possible for me. So whatever that you're thankful for, even if you eat alone, you're your own companion. So stay with the food and really allow yourself to savor this and see how it goes. I know if you're used to watching TV while you're eating or look at your phone, it could be a little challenge, but start with like 3 minutes. See if you can have 3 bites without watching anything and see how you feel. So listening to your body and being gentle and generous is a very, very healthy and sustainable way, very loving way to heal. So I made a very fun thing you can do. Healing is very personal, and often we don't know where to start. So that's why I created a short quiz called the Gut and Skin Healing Foundations Quiz. It helps you quickly see where you may be out of balance and what your next step might be. You can take it at skingutquiz.com, skingutquiz.com. It's free, and it'll give you a simple starting point based on the 8 pillars I use with my clients.
Could you write down that later on before we end? Could you write down that on the chat?
Sure. I'll do it right now.
Okay, perfect. So when I hear many of these things, I just give Sam the time to write it down. Many times when I hear these things, I feel that sometimes we are missing what our grandmother told us. Not the probiotics thing, not the water things, but mindful eating. And we are missing that. And I think that is super important. Also, it's funny that at this moment of our life, we are saying that it's maybe some very difficult for us to eat without looking at the screen. I remember when I was working in this rehab center, in the beginning, I used to tell the people that was coming into the rehab, the best thing that you can do with your cell phone is throw it through the window. And then the director of the rehab called me and said, we don't think that is the best thing to tell our clients about the cell phone. But sincerely, at some point, we need to make these changes in our life. Eating is I wouldn't say a religious moment, but yeah, eating is a very important moment. Very important moment of our day. It's a sacred moment of our day. It could be a sacred moment of our day. Why we just don't embrace it that way? Why we just don't see it and embrace whatever it is? Maybe a cup of soup, maybe just a salad, or whatever it is, the simple dishes. It doesn't matter. It's the idea of transforming this into something that is going to be part of my body. That's the journey of the yogi. That's what I'm saying. This is the journey of the yogi, because you go from this, which is your body, to digging deep until you find the real self, which is not your body, because your body is going to disappear at some point, but it's your soul. Mm-hmm. So thank you for what you are saying. I don't know if there is anything else, and then we move that you want to say, and we, dear Sun, and we move into questions and answers if you have some.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's a really good point. It's it's magic. Like, if the carrot eats a piece of carrot, right? Then it becomes Carol, right? So if Diego eats a piece of cucumber, it becomes Diego, right? So it really is. We take it for granted because it's so built in us, but it is magic because what you eat becomes who you are. Because about 98% of you, every year it becomes new you. Your body regenerates that much. Think about how much hair you generate every week. Whenever you wash your hair, there's a lot of hair missing, right? It's going detachment. Then next day, you're like, oh, there's new hair, right? So that's how much potential that you have in your body.
Can I ask a question? Oops, excuse me, Sun.
Sure.
What Diego asked you to write down on the chat, and I didn't see it come up. Could you?
If you go to chat,
we have to click on it.
Yeah, click in there, and then you see it right there. In any case, we are in constant communication, so you can text me or you can connect, and I will send an email out with all. When I do the little recap, I will send an email out with all Sun information.
I see it here.
Beautiful videos that she has. She has a YouTube channel, so it's easy to access. You go to the YouTube channel and you access to all this information, and it's all recorded in videos. But I want to introduce her to the group because she was part of the group, and she was being part of some of my classes in the park in Culver City, practicing yoga. So that's why we met. And then I think that this is very important as a part of the seminar that we are going through.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because I didn't know you had to click on the chat. So got it.
Were you able to get it, Karen?
Yeah. It's
wonderful.
It's
Wonderful.
Yep.
Any other questions? No questions? Okay, so thank you, Sun. I would like you to think, because we move into meditation now, and I would like to think of the macronutrients. I was doing some research today, and then I started thinking about it more than doing research, but then I did the research on the times. And then which is the most important micronutrient in our life? Air. Because if we don't breathe, in few minutes we die. That's the first micronutrient, air. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, which is water. Wow. Because if we don't drink water, we die in few days, 3 days, I think it is. Boom, gone. Which is the third micronutrient? Salt. Because what I say before, if we don't eat salt, in 20 days we die. There need to be an equilibrium. There need to be a homeostasis in between water and salt, because this is what creates electrolysis, and this is what is electrolysis? Basically, the electricity that flows through our body that keeps our heart pumping, for example. So there is a relationship in between water and salt. What is the fourth micronutrient? Guess.
Protein.
Huh?
Is it protein?
Well, that's the fifth. Fat is before. If we don't eat fat, we die in between 4 to 6 weeks. Let's say that suddenly you say, no fat for me.
I try to avoid fat.
No. Yes, exactly. What we want to avoid is the fat that we have in our belly. The fat that we want to avoid. But that's difficult to avoid. Yeah. Tell me, I've been fighting with this. I am a yoga teacher and I have a rounded belly. But in any case, yes, fat is the micronutrient we need, really, the fourth one. And the fifth one is protein. If we don't eat protein, we die in between 70 to 90 days. That's how those macronutrients are so important. Why this is important? Why I bring this up? Because think about your life. You are just building all this, which is called you. And we know that it's not you, because there is much more within you. But you are building all what this is called this body through these micronutrients. So how important it is to be aware of this and think in these terms, think in the terms of when I am eating, basically what I am doing is cultivating and building my body. This is what I am doing. When I am eating, what I am doing is cultivating and building my body. Now, there are many ways to eat, but of course, it's very important to eat good stuff. Of course, it's very important to take care of the air that you breathe. It's very important to take care of the water that you take in. It's very important to take care of the harmony in between the salt and the water, even though most of our foods bring a lot of salt on it. So it's kind of a difficult research in there. And it's important to eat good, healthy fats. Of course, there are many fats that are bad. Those are, I am not an expert on this, so I don't want to say something that is wrong. But if I am not wrong, I think the polysaturated fats or something like this, those are bad fats. but we need to eat healthy fats. For example, avocado. Avocado is a perfect source of fat, healthy fat. Olive oil is a perfect source of healthy fat. And then protein. Yeah. So we all know that. It's funny, when I become vegetarian, I start not eating so much protein, and then I start just missing it. And it was funny because I was going to the restaurants in the beginning, and I said, no, I don't. And then the waitress here started asking me, what is your protein today? What is your protein today? I said, why these people are asking me for protein? I am not eating meat, because my association was protein and meat. But yes, we need protein, and it took me a few years to be able to harmonize the relationship between the protein I am taking every day and the protein that I was taking before. I am an Argentinian by origin, so I ate a lot of cows already. And suddenly I decide, no, this is not good for me anymore. And then my mother, completely offended, called me and said, you are not Argentinian anymore. It's true. It's absolutely true. I am not lying. She was so offended. She hid herself on the bedroom because I invited her to stay at my home in West Hills. And she said, you're not Argentinian anymore. I don't want to talk with you. For 3 days, she didn't talk with me. We have a fight about the food because I was asking her, please don't make some meat, because I am just living meat, so I don't want to eat meat. So I'm coming from work, and then it was meat and something as we eat in Argentina. And I eat the meat, and I say, mother, I am not eating meat, so don't make meat. Don't cook meat. And then the second day, she said, of course, Diego. And the second day, dinner time, meat and something else. And the third day, I was a little bit not as patient, and I say, mother, I am not eating meat, okay? That's why she becomes offended. All right, so let's meditate. It's time to meditate. Any questions about meditation? Any questions that you have? Any problem that you're having about meditation? How can I help you to meditate? How can I help you to meditate every day? Any questions? Please shout it. No problems. Shoot it, no problems. Ask me and I'll try to answer. What is not working for you?
I think that your reminders are excellent. I mean, anytime we're together on the mat in these forums and so on, to start with meditation, end with it, whatever, but to be constantly reminded that it's a wonderful place to go, and it has to become a habit.
It does.
For me.
Yeah. It does. It is a habit. In how many days you develop a habit? This is research done, 21 days. If you repeat the same thing at the same time during 21 days, then you create a habit. Why you brush your teeth every day? Don't tell me when you are brushing your teeth, you are thinking about brushing your teeth. You don't. You already did. What time you brush your teeth? What time? What time you brush your teeth? Say.
As soon as I get up.
Say again?
As soon as I get up.
As soon as you get up, because habits are done after or before something. There is no time for habits. It's not like, it's 10 minutes to 7, I need to brush my teeth. No. Habits are done before or after something. I brush my teeth before taking a shower. Why? I have no idea. But that's how it is. Every morning I wake up, brush my teeth, then I take a shower. That's how it is. Now you create a habit. Before, when you were 4, 5, 6 years old, you were not brushing your teeth, fighting with your parents. Brush your teeth. I didn't. No, you didn't. Oh. But then one day, maybe because you fall in love with someone in the school, you start brushing your teeth. And then from that moment on until now, you keep brushing your teeth every day. That's you nail it, my dear. It's a habit. Meditation is a habit. You need to develop the habit. So wake up. That's what I say. Meditate. That's what I use my teacher RPM thing. RPM, rise, be, meditate, right? That's why. That's the reason. RPM, rise, be, meditate. Because you want to wake up, and the first thing that you want to do is to meditate. then you are going to create a habit, because every day you just go to the bathroom, you come back, you sit, you meditate. And then tomorrow you go to the bathroom, you sit, you meditate. And then tomorrow, hopefully in 21 days, you create a habit. Then you just keep doing it. You keep doing it. That's important, the habit thing. You need to create it. It requires some discipline and commitment, but it shouldn't be a torture. It should be something that you sit and you listen. You listen to your mantra, or you listen to your problems. Sometimes our problems are torturing, yes. Well, what we are going to do? Deny them? Just put it apart. Oh, I don't want to think about it. Yeah, it could work for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then what? Then they come back. They come back. So much better to face them. Much better to face whatever is going on. You want to face it. And that's what meditation is. Yes, sometimes it's a little bit difficult. Sometimes we realize, oh, wow, this is going on. Yes. Sometimes we realize all our feelings and our going on and our things. But I don't see how is the beginning to solve a problem. What is the beginning to solve a problem? To be conscious about it. If you're not conscious about it, it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep repeating it constantly until you become aware. When you become aware, well, you deal with it. You deal with it in the best of your ability. Maybe you can deal with it today. Well, you deal tomorrow. Maybe you can put it apart, but you already become aware. Okay, I have a problem here. That's what I was telling the people in the rehab. I bring the rehab again because it's related to this. I was telling them, you already start the process to heal because you are here. So you realize, okay, I have a problem. I need help. If not, you would be sniffing cocaine in your home. But then you realize, no, I have a problem. I need to be here. Yeah, it's tough. Yes, it's tough. Oh, I am surrounded by these people that I don't like. Yes, it's tough. But I am solving the problem. And in other ways, this is related to our life. Yes, meditation sometimes is like wow, it's overwhelming because you see yourself and you see all what's going on in that particular mind of us, and it could be overwhelming. Yes, of course, but what else we can do? What else we can do? I mean, I don't find any other solution that in order to understand what's going on is to understand what's going on. To open my eyes and say, bring it on. What's going on here? And then from there, I can build something. Yes, from there, I can build something. And most of the time, that's why we talk about innocence of the blank canvas. Most of the time, it's the narrative that we create about it. It's not the problem per se. Most of the time, it's our mind building all these things, all these stories in our life, and then believing them, which is the second step we do. We first build it, and then we believe that. And that's a big deal. And most of us, we live that way. And that's what creates our personality. What is our personality? It's something that we build. Now, are we able to go back and say, well, maybe many things here really are not true. Many things here are not real. Many things here are obstacles that are not obstacles really. Meditation is a great helper on all of this because it really brings you into your heart, which is where we have to establish ourselves. Close your eyes, please. And as you close your eyes, get comfortable, really get comfortable. Take your time. And then start thinking about your skin as you close your eyes. Connect with your skin. What is it that you are feeling on your skin? Connect with the areas of your skin covered by the clothing. Connect with the areas of your skin uncovered. Connect with the temperature of your skin, the perception you have about it. Connect with the areas of your skin in touch with the chair or couch in which you are seated. Shift your attention towards your body and connect. The larger organ in our body, the sensory organ for touching, you can feel the air touching your skin. You can feel the clothing touching your skin. Now shift your attention towards the center of your tongue. That's the subtle seat for the touching sense. There is a subtle seat for each of the 5 organs. For the skin is the center of your tongue. So make the relationship, make the link, connect the center of your tongue and your entire skin, your entire organ. Now slowly shift your attention towards your breathing and start connecting with your breathing. How is your breathing today? How is the air going through your nostrils in and out? There goes in, there goes out. And you connect. Then connect with the air going down through your trachea and expanding your lungs. Connect with the entire breathing experience. And then slowly start digging in and getting in contact with your heart. Connect first with your heart and then try to understand what's the language of your heart today. What is your heart trying to tell you today? How do you feel? Instead, to become your emotion, observe it. Instead, to become your thought, observe it. Play that game, the observer game. Because you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're the observer of your thoughts, the observer of your emotions. Observe whatever is going on in your life right now. And breathe deep. And as you try to establish yourself within your heart, you maybe want to begin the repetition of your mantra. Remember that the repetition of your mantra is gentle and relaxed. There is no need to force or concentrate. If you don't want to repeat your mantra, just connect with your breathing or use any other mantra you want to use. Maybe the mantra Soham. So when you inhale, hum. when you exhale. Or any other mantra you know, maybe your primordial sound. But again, if you don't want to use a mantra, you just connect with your breathing. Enjoy your meditation. I'll watch the time. I'll ring the bell in a few minutes. Just enjoy. And remember that when your mind flies away, you bring your mind back and you keep connecting with your mantra, with your breathing. Enjoy. Very gentle. Stop the repetition of your mantra. Continue with your eyes softly closed. When you feel ready, gently open your eyes. So I always remember Dalai Lama, when he said, meditate, meditate, meditate. 1 minute per day, meditate. So apart from the technique that you are practicing or not, apart from the struggles you may have or not with this practice, what you want is to close your eyes. This is what you want. You really want to close your eyes and go in and see what's going on. See the level of stress you have. See how your breathing is. See how your body is. Observe what's going on. Just close your eyes and go there. And then from there, you're going to build the practice. Every day, take a moment, close your eyes. Because when you close your eyes, what you are doing is sort of beginning the process to redirect your attention inward. We are constantly looking outside, constantly focusing what's going on out there, constantly. And then, of course, after a while, we are just completely depleted. And on top of that, most of what is happening outside is not very nice these days. So we are seeing a lot of, going on outside, and we are seeing all this information that we are having in the phones and these alarms and these things. And then the idea of meditation is an idea of how you're going to heal yourself. How I'm going to heal myself from this story. And that's how meditation works. Any questions that you may have about this? Any questions or comments that you want to go through regarding this? We're good? Yes, please.
I'm having a hard time finding a place to meditate, actually, in my house that's consistent. So.
All right, and then I need to understand why you're having a hard time. Are you having a hard time because the people that live with you, or for other reason?
That plus stuff and, sharing space and room and kind of finding a
distractions.
Calming corner. Yeah.
Okay, well, you need to be able to not having this type of distractions. That's crucial. And then that related to the time in which you are going to do this. Because, you need to find the time in which you are able to take 10 minutes for yourself, 15 minutes for yourself. You need to decide how many minutes I'm going to meditate today in order to develop a practice. I'm going to meditate 10 minutes per day. And this is the time that I can dedicate to this. Okay, perfect, 10 minutes. And then say, which is the best 10 minutes I can do this? Mostly as soon as you wake up in the morning. Again, the good point for your story, because as soon as you wake up in the morning, most people is not there, or most people is doing their own story. Depends on how is your situation. I don't know your situation. You want to, and another thing that is important apart from the time, you want to find the place in which you feel comfortable. That's very important. There is a place in which walk around your home, if it's possible, and feel a place in which you feel comfortable. It has to be a seat. It has to be a couch. It has to be maybe your bed. Maybe you can meditate on your bed, put in some couches, some pillows and some stuff in which you can. The only request about meditation is to be sit upright. That's all. That's the only request. You want to be sit upright. So your spine erected, your spine upright. That's all. You don't need to cross your legs. You don't need to do anything. Yes, the perfect yogi meditation with mudras and blah, blah, blah. Excellent. There are many reasons for that, but don't put the horses, or put the car in front of the horses. Find the place in which you're not going to have distraction for 10 minutes. It should be a moment in your day, maybe when you wake up, in which you're not going to have these distractions. And And then the second thing is noises are part of the meditation. Noises are part of the meditation. You have two choices. You can engage with the noises, which is what is going to happen most of the time, or you can redirect your attention inward and say, oh yeah, noises. Mantra, 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 noises, noises, not mantra, 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 noises again, noises, noises, mantra, 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 until noises disappear, because mantras stay. Your mind is like a troublesome kid. It's going to go away, go away, go away, and at some point it's going to hold your hand and keep it like this. That's your mind. I don't know if that answered the question.
Well, is the same time of day important? Because in my house, the way it is, my husband will get up at different times and it's an open, so he might be coming in and out, the kitchen, whatever, or the bed. So
yeah. Yeah, the time is important, but if you don't have that choice, then you need to take decisions. If you don't have that choice about, well, my husband wakes up at this moment, but then they wake up at another moment. Well, but probably he has a routine, like, okay, Monday, 6 o'clock, Tuesday, 10 or whatever. So maybe you can accommodate yourself on that, but you want to have the opportunity to have 10 minutes for yourself.
Right. So yes. Can I just wait till he leaves and then if it's at a different time?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Why not? Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So it's
another, you remember when we met and I talked about RPM, Rise P meditation?
Yes.
Another from my funny teacher, WW, whatever works.
Right. Okay.
Whatever works. WW. No doubts about it.
I'll work on that. Okay.
Perfect. Any other question?
Sometimes you mention a primordial
sound. You are going to receive it in Mexico.
Oh, okay. Good.
You're going to receive that in Mexico. You're going to have your primordial sound. It's the sound of the universe at the moment you were born, my dear.
Amazing.
Yes. When you are in Mexico, you're going to receive it. The first day you show up, you and Ruth, and if someone new show up, then yes, you're going to receive the primordial sound. It's part of the entire story. The people that went to Mexico last year, they all have primordial sounds.
Okay.
Good. All right. So it's 7:15. I don't want to keep you holding. Love you so much. Beautiful to be with you. Next seminar, we are going to talk about the five senses, how important our five senses are and how they are related, the subtle seeds of the five senses. We start the journey of the yogi, and five senses are crucial in this practice, and I want to explore that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Sun. Thank you so much.
Sun.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with me. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.